I think we certainly see efficiency in our workflow. We certainly see efficiency in terms of staffing. Those are the two biggest things, and then certainly we've seen a good upside from a cost perspective as well. We now have the ability to take either the same staff or fewer staff and work on other things like digital production, which we couldn't have done in the past because we were spending so much time either pre-flighting or uploading or doing other production tasks that we currently don't have to do based on the implementation of SendMyAd and Virtual Publisher. I can tell you that it has made us a much more efficient, much more streamlined operation, for sure. It certainly helped us in our ability to communicate better, both across editorial and advertising lines. In the past, we had multiple Excel spreadsheets or functions that were done separately and then repeated. Virtual Publisher helped us to streamline and communicate better, both with our ad sales force and with our editorial staff. And it allowed our operations team and our production team to integrate more closely and more cleanly. Once we got over that initial barrier or hump to getting that done, it's been very smooth. And what I love about working with Blanchard Systems, in truth, is they are so responsive and they are so flexible in terms of willingness to adapt to your workflow or to build stuff into the software that will accommodate you, whether it's a view that we had which we called the ladder. So instead of a traditional mock-up view, we really wanted something that was considered a ladder view, which is very print-oriented and came very much from some of the folks who started out with our magazine and who were at Time Inc. They used it a lot. It was very production-oriented. So we wanted that view. It didn't exist initially in the product, but through working with Charles and Jesse and the rest of the team, we were able to get that view, and it really helped us kind of make that transition because people were really tied into using a book makeup tool that had that type of flexibility, that type of willingness to adapt and learn and serve your client the way Blanchard does is it's immeasurable, really, and invaluable. I mean, it's unbelievable for us. Going to an external ad portal isn't really a leap of faith, so it makes sense. It makes the process better, right? It helps you. And the question was not whether we would go to an ad portal, the question was which ad portal would we go to? And so the solutions that were currently out there with the various other vendors and printers and so forth were not nearly as elegant or as good as SendMyAd. And once we got into the weeds of using it, it was a pretty easy adoption for our ad production people to do. And then from there, the transition was then getting the advertisers to adopt. And that again was a pretty easy transition for the most part. We haven't had as much of the growing pains as some people had with some of the smaller mom and pop shops, maybe because we don't use as many of them possibly for our publication. But I think most people have adopted that PDF X1A workflow really easily. And so if you're willing to do that, then uploading your ad and approving it, it's a pretty streamlined function for them as well, and I think pretty smart. So most people are willing to do it. We haven't really had a big issue in that regard. So that was easy. The next step was a little trickier for us, getting to Virtual Publisher, right? Because again, now you're talking about internal folks who are very locked into using something for many years. Oftentimes this type of legacy system is not necessarily a great legacy system. It's just something that they're comfortable with. Over time, the conversations began to say, we can do this better. We can eliminate extra work. And so once we were able to show that there was a system that was better and could be streamlined and also adaptable, which again, can't emphasize that enough. The ability for the software to be adapted to and tweaked to our workflow was really important for us, and really was the probably linchpin to convincing people to go for it and to say, okay, we're ready to let go of this and accept that, to the point where we're looking at virtual production now and thinking, geez, how can we continue to work with these guys? They're so smart, they do such good work. Can we eliminate K4 and use Virtual Publisher to support us in that regard? And we're talking about that. Can we eliminate our pre-media relationship and use virtual production? We're looking at that. So again, one kind of leads to the other, and for us it was, SendMyAd, Virtual Publisher, and maybe a couple more steps now.